fear that's also universal is when. When will they walk, or when will they talk, or when will they be able to do this, or when will they be able to eat regular food, or when will they be able to play with other children, or if they'll be able to play with other children.
If I could know if, I would be less afraid.
About the when.
About the when.
I agree.
So tell me more. Give me an example.
Oh gosh, if I would know, just to use, even your example, if I would know if my son was able to keep down solid foods, then, okay, so I wouldn't feel so afraid of the when, as long as I knew if it was achievable, right? Yeah. If I knew, and in our own case, my son has an insatiable drive to eat. So he can't be unsupervised at all. If I knew if or when there will be, if there's a medication going to be developed, I won't be as concerned about when. I'll just kind of sit back and wait.
Wait for it.
I will be less fearful, afraid that it won't ever happen in his lifetime. Right now we don't know it'll happen in his lifetime, so it's not even a matter of when, it's if.
Knowing from the beginning, this is, a question that comes up again and again for me is, how stressful was this going to be? When I read about the diagnosis, you read things online, you talk to other parents. We went to our first support group, when Ryan was 2 months old. So we got plugged in right away with families and friends, Lisa being one of them, right away. And so I was always curious, like, how bad is it going to get? When is the food drive going to hit? When will we have to lock our kitchen? Will there be behaviors? Will there be major anxiety? And then once those, showed up, how much harder is this going to get? How much more stress is this going to inflict upon me as the primary caregiver and on the family? And that just keeps going. Like, I could keep doing that going forward, and
In every stage.
In every stage.
In some ways, I think those of us who actually have a diagnosis are, we have something tangible we can hold on to. We have a little bit of a roadmap about what symptoms are more likely to be associated with this syndrome. For those families who have no diagnosis for their child, but symptoms nonetheless, that's got to be this very scary, extraordinarily scary.
Yes.
Because you don't even know what you're dealing with, much less how to do anything.
And how frustrating, because you're like, there has to be an answer for all of these things. Why doesn't it fit into a box or a category?
I have a long list of fears, and every fear morphs into the next developmental stage of fear. So I might get through this set of fears, but then that opens the door to a whole new host of fear. So right after he was born, I was afraid, as I said, he would die. Right. And then I was, like many parents, the fear of I'm going to drop him walking down the stairs at night, right? Or walking down the stairs during the day. I just had this overwhelming fear I would drop him. And then as he got older, having a fear he'll never have friends, he won't enjoy his life, he'll die in his sleep of a symptom very common to this disorder, central sleep disorder, or he'll choke to death, another very common symptom. There will be a major earthquake that massively disrupts the delivery of the medication that he absolutely has to have, that keeps his entire body composition more normalized. So I'm deathly afraid of that. That we're not going to be able to afford his medication, and then his body's going to suffer because of it. That he will forget to look both ways before he crosses the street, get hit by a car. That he'll die before I do.
Some universal ones are safety, that we've mentioned, certainly physical, emotional, mental, sexual safety. I had somebody ask me recently, this comes up time and again, where will Ryan live someday? And we don't know. And, we have said from the beginning he will live with us possibly always, unless we do find a really wonderful place that we feel comfortable with. We're not there yet, so I try not to go there, but we're getting closer to that time. He's 16, but I just tell myself, let's focus on 16, 17, 18. Let's not think about after he's done with the school district. You know, what the long haul is like, I just always have to come back to right now, for sure.
That's a good coping strategy, to bring yourself back to now.
And we'll talk today about the different strategies that we all employ that we'll share with you, and hopefully there's some practical takeaways as well. We'll definitely get to that because that's critical. We don't want to be Debbie Downers here listing like 10,000 fears for our audience today, but we just wanted you all to know that the fears that you have, the things that you think about, the questions that you have, the what ifs, the whens, how, all of it is so normal. It's so normal for all of us to have those questions, and moms of typical kids do the what ifs as well, because there's no way to know how our typical kids' lives are going to play out. Will they marry a psychopath, or will they marry like the person that we hope, or we don't know. But I think it's definitely exponential when you have a child who has struggles, challenges, diagnoses.
I think you bring up another universal fear, and that's the social aspects. Will our kids, I'm afraid my son won't have people who love him, who won't find somebody who he loves, who won't find somebody who loves him that he loves, or that he loves someone and they don't love him back. I mean, I think that's huge, because most kids with disabilities, that social component comes along with it, most of the time, not always. But for those of us who do have kids who have that social component, I think that's a huge fear.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that they'll be alone and lonely.
And in that regard, I want to say this is something that I have struggled so hard with, and really kind of have to talk to myself about it regularly, and that is, and it's hard to put it in words, but I think I tried, and what I came to is that I'll be too protective to allow him the space he needs to grow and develop and experience to whatever his best capacity is, without anyone else's expectations. And I feel like that's a paradox we deal with every single day.
Absolutely.
Every single day. Protect versus inspire. And I think, you know, there's another way to say it too, which is, are we going to lead from fear and at times the anger that we all feel with the systems that we're dealing with, and disappointments and so on, so forth, or are we going to lead with our heart and our intuition and the knowledge that we've collected about how to help our children?
I remember when my kid was tiny and he was playing on the jungle gym and crawling and climbing and hanging, and he has very weak muscle tone, no coordination whatsoever, and I was terrified he was going to fall, break his head, you know, or do something. And so that fear for his own physical safety, but he was having such a good time. He was really, I could tell he was really pushing himself. So how much do you step in, or how much do you stand back and swallow your own fear and not let it be seen, so that he can, you know, stretch himself? So that's when he was little.
How did you reconcile that in that time? Because I'm sure we have moms of young children.
Yep. It was some of what you said, do I really think that he cannot do this? If I believe he cannot do this, no way, no how, then I can't let him.
Okay.
If I think there's a probability, or the probability that he can, then I had to weigh that against what's the potential problem, outcome, negative consequence if he can't, right? Broken something, broken head, that's not okay. Broken arm, broken leg, you weigh that, right? Or do I get close enough and try to catch him? You know, how close can I get while he still has the experience of I'm not too close. I'm not close.